Hey, it's Chase from Sorcery Contested Realm, and today I'm joined by Ron, the head organizer for the Courtesan Cup and Sorcery Social, as well as Mark, owner of No Land Beyond. Ron and Mark, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Hey,
thanks for having
thanks
us.
for having us.
So, we're here to talk about something actually really amazing. You have been working so hard over the past many months with different stores, events, communities to put on a series of events. These Courtesan Cup qualifiers that are all leading up to this big event. So, what is this event that's happening in June? Tell us a little about what's coming up.
Awesome. Yeah. So the Courtesan Cup Sorcery Social is a competition for the Courtesan Cup, which is the large competition that a lot of people have been qualifying into and can now get some seats into. And then as well, it's an overall sorcery event. So there's going to be a lot of sorcery artists, there's going to be sorcery drafts, sorcery learn to plays, as well as some other ways to play sorcery and interact with the game. So it's a quite encompassing sorcery experience, I guess, is the short way to say that.
And you've been working so hard to make this like the premier event, right? You've poured your heart and soul into this to make sure that if someone's a sorcery fan, they're going to come down there and there's a little bit of something for everybody. Mark, when Ron first came to this idea, what was your initial reaction to all this?
It's pretty exciting. Coming from my background, I've done a lot of events for Magic and like traveled a lot for events. So like that kind of like larger competitive kind of like qualifier type tournament was something that was really exciting to me. To see the potential for that to happen with sorcery was pretty exciting, and to see that it was happening kind of in a different way. It was like so organized by community members who are deeply engaged in the game, and to see that like they were creating more of a community environment around it. It wasn't just like a cold like show up at 9 a.m. like pay $100 like sweat out for like 10 rounds, no breaks. It was like all these tournaments that have been happening are just um, you know pretty exciting and done in like a really different way that's like focused more on the community. And that's the kind of the angle that Ron came to me with that got me excited about getting involved.
Yeah. I mean, something we're really proud of is the community that's associated with sorcery. And we're really fortunate to have such exemplars like yourself that have stepped up to put on events. And we know in the Baltimore area, that's grown quite a large sorcery scene. And Ron, you've really been championing sorcery in that area, right?
I have. I've been helping make sure that stores know about it. They run events. Yeah, it's been a challenge, but it's been fun. Meeting store owners as well as players from each of these stores. So
So I felt really grateful that I got to meet you not only at Gen Con way back when last year, but also recently at the Connecticut qualifier. And you were kind of overseeing that event with Ira and David Letourneau, the store owner there as well. The energy there was fantastic, right? People were super excited. And I was really impressed by the range of people, both people a little bit more competitive minded, but also those that were just looking to have fun and play some casual games in like a little bit more of a structured environment. So for this event itself, there's been so much talk about the Courtesan Cup event itself, which is kind of this larger competitive tournament. Who do you see the audience being for this 3-day event that you're having? Is it just for competitive players? Who should be looking to come to this?
honestly, anyone interested in sorcery, if you're interested in learning more about sorcery, you have never played a game, or you've played tons of games and you're ready to go in and try to compete with some of the best names in sorcery. And kind of everywhere in between, from the art enthusiast to lover, right? We have 5 artists coming, showing some live art and actually having APs, as well as some other things that they're going to be selling at the event. And then drafts, constructed casual multiplayer. So there's a lot to offer anyone interested in the sorcery game. And honestly, the sorcery world, because again, if you're interested in just the art of sorcery, it's a great way to come in and meet the artist of the game and the pieces that they've brought to life. And we've actually had them do a few for us for the event for our Raven tokens. So that's been really cool.
Oh, and
Those
that's
come.
sort of that's very topical actually as well, because the event itself is located in Baltimore, which is, as people may know, the Edgar Allan Poe, the famous poet, lived there, right? So you think of like the Raven, what is it? Quoth the Raven, nevermore. So having a kind of a Baltimore event with a Raven piece of art as well, that's kind of a cool tie together.
Indeed, indeed. And we've actually had some really cool pieces come in from Jeff and Drew, who did some original pieces for the event. And they've been really cool seeing that. them come together and become the token promos that we're offering the players who purchase and engage with the event.
Working together with people like Mark, what's going to make this event so unique? What's going to make this stand out from other events?
Well, I mean, for one, it's going to be one of the largest sorcery events, if not the largest sorcery event to date. And then we're bringing in a lot of unique experiences, right? We've talked about the artists, and then there's the art, right? I haven't really talked or emphasized this, but there's a lot of original sorcery pieces from the alpha beta set that will be hanging on the walls, that as you check into your rooms, you might see some of that art just looking you right in the face. And that's, something that's going to be very unique and very special as that's part of this event, right?
So if you're a collector or just someone who's an admirer of art, you can go there and you're able to meet with artists, you're able to see the art. It sounds like you were talking about earlier before that there's going to be maybe some ways to interact with them or see them at Q&As or that sort of thing as well.
Oh yeah. So at No Land Beyond, at the pre-event, there will be a social hour, if you will. I think it's like 3 or 4 hours actually, where the artists will be there just mingling and hanging out, right? And so kind of outside of the convention setting and more in a relaxed, casual setting, you can hang out and meet Alan Pollock or Tony Sudlow or Jeff Mingus, right? And it's going to be really neat and really fun. And then as we go into the first day, there's going to be a lot of live art. So you could even see Alan Pollock do a live AP, right? And then you could later visit his vendor booth and maybe pick up one of those other APs that he's done or put in a request for an AP. I mean, there's a lot of cool things and a lot of, ways that you'll be able to interact with the artists that, email and other means of communication just aren't going to be able to cut it.
I think one thing we're really proud of is the work that our artists do, and obviously the talent and skill that goes into making traditional hand-painted art. To be able to get to see some of that in person, that's going to be really, really cool. Now, if I'm more of a competitive player and I want to go there and really focus on kind of proving myself against some of the best in sorcery, what do I have to look forward to at this event?
Yep. So we've recently announced that we are expanding the Courtesan Cup beyond an invite-only basis and allowing players to buy into the event to experience the same level of competitive play. We really wanted to make the Courtesan Cup special, and I think it is still special because it's one of the largest sorcery tournaments. We are giving away some very unique original art, and I think that with the largest sorcery event, we should also have the largest sorcery tournament. So it makes sense for us to expand the cup as we try to get this event, filled in with all the people and giving them everything that they're looking for.
That's fantastic. And I know there were so many qualifiers, but particularly they were oftentimes focused on the East Coast or even in the continental United States. And there's been word that there might be people traveling from overseas. It's so nice that they're able to now have this opportunity to jump in at this event and play in a competitive environment, with these players. So that's really cool. And then maybe one other persona to think about here. So what if I'm, I just enjoy sorcery. I'm not super into the competitive scene. I just kind of like to use it as like a social thing where I sit down and I can play with my friends and have a good time. If I go to the Courtesan Cup, I know there's going to be, artists there. That sounds awesome. I know it's this big competitive event. If I don't want to participate in the competitive event, is there still stuff for me to do?
Oh yeah. I mean, outside of any of the organized events that we have planned, there's plenty of open play space where you can just kind of set up shop, meet some new friends, and play whatever kind of formats you'd like. We also have organized casual play. So we're exploring some fun formats, as well as exploring some of the multiplayer that has been out there in the world. We're going to be playing around with different formats and different ways to play sorcery that, just being at the event and having a ticket will get you there.
That's awesome. It sounds like a lot of fun. So it sounds like the pre-event is going to be at No Land Beyond, right? The first night?
Yeah, that first night is going to be, we'll have a draft, we'll have constructed, we'll have several other events, a kind of casual play focused event. We're very likely going to just close the entire shop down just specifically for people who are coming to this event. So basically the whole bar will be set up for the Spring Sorcery Social crowd. We're pretty excited about it. We're gonna have some music by DJ Spinscott, local man.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, very excited about having him play some music for us in the evening. Um, we have a full bar at the, if you're interested in partaking. It's a kind of a unique experience for being able to go and play games. I know I've seen some photos of folks sharing on their Discord of the local bars that they play at regularly. So we'll have that kind of a vibe going on.
That's fantastic. Well, Ron, I know this has been something you've been working on for a really long time, and you put a lot of hours into. I know just even in our conversations how much time you've put in, but well beyond that. Right now, it's probably an interesting moment to be in, right? In the lead up, right? This is the most busy time, the most stressful as we get closer. And I'm hoping that you'll get to kick back a little bit and enjoy when the event's going on. But reflecting back as you stand upon this, the precipice of this event coming up here and going off with such success, what was the initial inspiration to do this, and how does it feel to see all these pieces start to come together and community members and content creators and artists start to rally around you? What's that whole process been like?
It's been kind of crazy, actually. I remember going to Gen Con. We had met at Gen Con. I met a lot of the Sorcery team that was there and a lot of the volunteers, and got to talk and meet with some of my new friends. I've actually maintained some friendships from the sorcery area at Gen Con last year. So it was really neat to see how the game impacted players, right? In all of this, there's a really cool game, and it was really awesome to see people interacting with the game and just falling in love with it, kind of the way I did. So being able to take that and spread it here and kind of be a focal point was the intent. And then putting out that I want to do this big tournament and I want to make this huge event, and this is how I want to do it, all not just me but all these other stores, and having it be something I was saying was one thing, but then having a couple of people get interested was another. But then the amount of feedback and the amount of interest that we've gotten in the Courtesan Cup and the Spring Social collectively has just been phenomenal, right? And
I mean, what are you up to for qualifiers? How many qualifiers have there been? How many people have you inspired to run events in their local area?
The ones that we were actually able to run and facilitate with the original numbers, I think it was around 14, maybe 16 events.
Yeah.
From, I think there were 30, no, sorry, there were about 50 players, I think, and some of the higher capacities. And I think some of the lower capacities were around like 16, right? Maybe like,
I mean, and congratulations. Like that sort of took off. I'm thinking back to some of our earlier conversations, but it's like, 3 events, 3 spotlight articles. We can do that. And next thing you know, it's like, well, there's been, the East Coast has been electrified by this. So I'm really excited to see this all come together in June. And I think, obviously you've live streamed a lot of these events. Just recently, the one in Florida was streamed, but also getting to meet you in person at the one in Connecticut, and getting to see the energy in the room that you've helped be a part of and get, help those people get going. That's really fantastic. And so I'm really excited to see the community come around and gather around you here in June and kind of support the work you're doing further. And, we just want to take a moment here from Eric's Curiosity to say thank you so much for all the work you've been doing to help champion the game. And we're excited to be there in support of you at your event as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So if people want to find out more, right, they've heard this, they've seen some of these articles going out, they've seen your stuff you're pushing out on social media, they've seen the post in Discords, and they're like, you know what? I haven't bought my ticket yet. I'm thinking about maybe I should do it. Maybe I shouldn't. What should I do? What's your final push for them to say like, hey, here's why you should be at this event? And then where can people find out more?
Sure. Well, I mean, if you're interested in sorcery or the art of sorcery, this event is for you. There's all kinds of ways to interact with the game as well as the popular people of the game, right? There's lots of social media personalities that'll be there, as well as some members of the Eric's Curiosa staff, I believe.
Yeah.
So lots of cool sorcery involvement and engagement and just immersion, right? Overall, immerse yourself into the world of sorcery for the weekend. And then to, you know, get your tickets and to find out a little bit more about the event, you go to courtesancup.com and, you know, get your tickets.
Fantastic. Well, if you haven't already done that, I mean, if you're this far into the video and you're thinking about it, you know, you might check something like this out. I'm excited to be there. And it sounds like, you know, you're really going to have a lot of people, especially on the East Coast. But I think people are traveling. But we're a small community, a close community. And so if you know people in sorcery, you're probably going to run into them there. And with quite a few artists being there as well, it sounds like this is really shaping up to be a one-of-a-kind event. So we're really excited. And we want to say once again, thank you so much for all the work you put into this. We're really excited to see it all come together in this final form in June. And, you know, Ron and Mark, thanks so much for taking the time to come on here and talk with us and share some of the stuff you've been doing.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Perfect. All right, folks, make sure to check out courtesancup.com. And in the meantime, best of luck contesting the realm.